During a heartwarming wedding, billionaire best man discovers incredible love with bride's curvy cousin. Lucas felt the sun warm his back as he stepped out of his luxury SUV. The familiar sights of his small Midwestern town wrapped around him like an embrace, yet he felt a strange emptiness inside. The air smelled of fresh flowers, and the soft buzz of laughter drifted from the church. It was the day of his childhood best friend's wedding. Everyone was excited, except him. He's made millions, conquered boardrooms, but here he was, feeling more alone than ever. Inside the church, the pews were filled with familiar faces, all radiant with joy. They looked so happy, and Lucas couldn't help but feel like a ghost among them. He was the best man, but he felt far from it. As the ceremony began, he caught sight of Emily, the bride's cousin. Her laughter was genuine, bubbling, and it danced through the room, captivating him. She wore a soft pink dress that accentuated her curves, radiating confidence. He couldn't take his eyes off her. When the vows were exchanged, Lucas felt the warmth spreading through the hall, reminding him of simpler times. He thought about all the gatherings, the small-town values, the family meals filled with laughter. Money had brought him riches, but it had also isolated him. He longed for those connections, the warmth of community, the bond of love. After the ceremony, as the reception unfolded, Lucas found himself standing next to Emily, who was digging into the dessert table. "You know," she said, her eyes twinkling, "there's a reason they say weddings have the best cake. It's all about celebration." The way she smiled made his heart race. They danced and twirled under the starry sky, laughter cascading between them. In that moment, Lucas felt alive, as if he truly belonged. But doubt flickered in Emily's eyes. She looked at him, and for a moment he feared she might see the dollar signs that defined his life. "Why would someone like you even notice someone like me?" she whispered, a hint of vulnerability in her voice. Lucas felt a tightness in his chest, a wave of emotion. "It's not about that," he pleaded softly, but deep down he couldn't shake the feeling that his wealth created a chasm between them. Before they could delve deeper, the joy of the evening shifted with whispered tension. The community center where Emily worked had been facing financial strain, rumored to be on the verge of closure. It was a beloved space, brimming with memories and hope for many in town. Lucas felt a swell of determination. He could help, he had the means, but would he be stepping into the life Emily cherished? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos.
And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. That night, as Lucas watched Emily speak passionately about saving the community center, her words tugged at his heartstrings. She stood out like a beacon of hope, a warrior for her community. He clenched his fists, feeling the weight of his decision looming in front of him. The struggle between his wealthy world and the humble life Emily embodied closed in like an approaching storm. Could he bridge the gap? Would he have the courage to step beyond his comfort zone and not just win Emily's heart, but also invest in the future of the town? His uncertainty hung heavy in the air as the music swelled. Love was standing right in front of him, but would he risk it all, not just for Emily, but for a part of himself he thought he had lost forever? Lucas stood at the edge of the dance floor, his heart racing as Emily talked. Every word she spoke seemed to inspire the room, igniting a spark in everyone listening. There was a fire in her voice that drew him in, making him forget his wealth and the barriers it created. For the first time in a long while, he felt the heaviness of his past lifting, replaced by a yearning for something genuine. As he caught her eye, she smiled uncertainly, as if she could sense his internal struggle. He wanted to tell her everything, that he admired her tenacity, her spirit, and the way she brought the community together. Instead, he just stood there, paralyzed by his own fears and doubts. The laughter and music swirled around him, but he felt disconnected. What if he offered to help the community center, and she saw it as charity rather than a genuine act of love? "Hey!" Emily's voice broke through his thoughts. She walked towards him, her pink dress flowing in the soft light, and he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. "You okay? You look deep in thought." "I am," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "It's just, hearing you tonight, it really got to me." She tilted her head, curious. "In a good way, I hope?" "Yeah, definitely. I just want to do something meaningful with my life," he said, the words spilling out before he could stop himself. "I think I've lost sight of that." Emily stepped closer, and the air between them charged with unspoken possibilities. It's never too late to change things, you know. You have a chance to make a real difference, but you have to be willing to step up. Lucas nodded, her determination sparking a flicker of hope in him. He thought about the community center again, a place he'd once visited as a child, laughing and playing with friends. What if I could help? His voice was steady, but inside he felt shaky. What if I offered to sponsor renovations? Emily's eyes widened, and a mixture of excitement and concern washed over her face.
"You'd really do that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I want to," he said, taking a deep breath. "But I want you to know that it's not just because I feel guilty or some obligation. I want to contribute because I believe in what you're doing. I want to be part of it." The vulnerability in his admission hung in the air, and he waited, the tension between them palpable. But instead of joy, a shadow crossed Emily's face. "You have to be careful, Lucas. Sometimes people see money and think they know you. They don't see the man behind the wealth." She paused, searching his eyes. "I don't want to lose you to that world." "Then let's build a bridge instead," he replied earnestly. "You help me understand this community, and I'll help it thrive, together." Emily looked down, her smile fading slightly. What if people think you're just doing it for me? I don't want to be seen as someone who needed saving." His pulse quickened. He realized that she felt far more vulnerable than he'd ever expected. "Emily, this is about more than just us. It's about making a change for everyone." But as they stood there, surrounded by laughter and dancing, he feared they stood on the edge of something greater than either of them anticipated, an emotional risk, an opportunity for love. Lucas took a step forward, trying to bridge the distance. "We can do this together, can't we?" The music swelled around them, capturing the moment in a bubble of hope and uncertainty. But as Emily hesitated, doubt clouding her eyes, he wondered if he was simply asking too much. Would she trust him? By the time the evening wound down, Lucas felt a resolve growing within him. He couldn't let fear dictate his next steps anymore. They both deserved more. Turning to Emily, he whispered, "So, what's the first step?" As the night air settled around them, Emily looked up, her expression shifting. "I think it starts with believing in each other." Her words stayed with him as he walked away that night, uncertainty swirling in his chest. He was ready to fight for her, but would she let him? And how would he prove that love could conquer wealth? Their journey had just begun, and he could only hope that they would navigate the storm together. With his heart pounding, he pondered, where would this new path take them? Lucas awoke the next morning with a sense of purpose that felt strange yet invigorating. The sunlight streamed through his bedroom window, illuminating the scattered reminders of his privileged lifestyle, expensive suits, designer cufflinks, and the latest tech gadgets. But as he sat up, the weight of those possessions felt lighter than ever. Emily's words echoed in his mind, believing in each other. He tugged on a simple t-shirt, wishing he could shed the usual trappings of wealth and step into a more authentic version of himself. Today, he knew, was different. That evening, he would attend his best friend's wedding, where he had the role of best man.
It was an event that he often relished for its glamour, but now it felt like another opportunity, an opportunity to reflect on who he really wanted to be. The thought of Emily brought a smile to his face. He had decided to call her later to discuss his plans for the community center in more detail, to not just seek her guidance, but also to genuinely involve her in the process. He wanted to show her that he was all in. As he got ready, Lucas searched for something more casual than his usual best man attire. He picked out a navy blazer and dark jeans, hoping to blend in, to be seen not as the wealthy outsider, but as someone who could connect more intimately with those around him, especially with Emily. At the wedding venue, he felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The ballroom sparkled under twinkling lights, and the air was thick with laughter and the scent of fresh flowers. He spotted familiar faces among the crowd, but his attention quickly shifted to the dance floor, where couples moved gracefully to the music. After the ceremony, as laughter echoed around him, he took a moment to step outside. The sun was setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. It was beautiful, yet his heart felt heavier than before. Emily would be here soon. He didn't want to waste this chance to make things right. As if summoned by his thoughts, he turned to see Emily approaching.
She looked radiant, her presence brightening the dusk around them. Her dark hair danced with the breeze, and her vibrant smile sent a rush of warmth through him. "Hey, glad you made it," she said, her voice a melody amidst the background noise. "Of course, wouldn't miss it," Lucas replied, his heart thumping. "How do you feel?" "Excited and a little nervous," she admitted, glancing around. "It's always a whirlwind of emotions at weddings." He nodded, wanting to convey more with his words than just casual chatter. "You know, I've been thinking about the community center and how I can really help." He searched her eyes for encouragement. "I want to be involved, not just as a donor, but as a partner, someone who stands alongside you." Emily's expression softened, but her eyes held hesitation. "I appreciate that, Lucas, but it doesn't just stop at helping. It's about building trust with the people here, too." He took a step closer, feeling the urgency in her words. "I know that, and I promise I'll earn that trust. Just give me a chance to show you." But her gaze shifted to the crowd, a wall of uncertainty reappearing. What if it doesn't change anything? What if it just complicates things? In that moment, the air shifted, an unseen tension swirling around them. Lucas reached out gently, taking her hand in his. "It will change everything, for us, for this community, if we allow it." The music shifted, a romantic tune filling the space.
He wanted to lean closer, to draw her into a dance, to demonstrate how they could be connected, not just by their vision, but by something deeper. But rejection washed over Emily's face, and he wondered if he had pushed too hard. "I need time," she murmured, pulling her hand back, "to think about it all." His chest tightened at her words. "I understand," he said, masking the disappointment. But that wasn't the end. He couldn't let it be. "I'll prove to you that we're worth trusting. Just don't shut me out." As the music enveloped them, he watched Emily retreat, feeling lost amidst the laughter of the joyful couples. The reality of the situation crashed down on him. This was a risk, and risks often came with heartache. But he wasn't willing to back down. He had to find out if they could weather the storm together. As he made his way back inside, he wondered not just about the future of the community center, but also the future of his and Emily's relationship. Would she choose to take that leap of faith? And as night fell, Lucas felt an ember of determination ignite within him. He could be more than just a wealthy man. He could be a partner and a friend. With every step, he vowed to gain her trust by showing her the genuine man beneath his wealth. And yet, deep down, he knew that time would reveal whether love or doubt would guide their path. Would the evening celebrations inspire something more between them? Lucas stepped back into the ballroom, his heart a chaotic mix of hope and dread. The laughter around him seemed distant, muffled by his own swirling thoughts. He caught a glimpse of the newlyweds sharing their first dance, an image of joy and commitment. It pulled at him, a reminder of what was slipping through his fingers. As the music changed to an upbeat tune, he forced a smile and engaged with the guests, joking and mingling as best he could. But his thoughts remained tethered to Emily. He yearned to bridge the space between them, to close that gap of uncertainty. Whenever he stole a look towards the entrance, he half hoped she might return, her hesitation transformed into excitement. "Lucas," a familiar voice called out, pulling him from his reverie. It was Jake, his best friend and the groom. "You're up next for the best man speech." With a wave of reassurance, Lucas nodded and followed Jake to the front. The spotlight felt both exhilarating and terrifying. He was vaguely aware of the cheers and clinking glasses as he took the microphone, the room shifting its focus onto him. The faces blurred together, but not Emily's. She stood by the side, her arms crossed, the emotion on her face difficult to read. Wow, everyone looks stunning," Lucas began, his voice wavering slightly. "First off, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of Jake and Sarah. You guys show us all what love truly looks like." A soft chuckle rippled through the crowd, easing the tension in his shoulders. He decided to speak from the heart, recalling fond memories with Jake, tales of mischief and bonding that made everyone laugh. For a moment, he felt lighter, the laughter a balm for his worries. but then he turned serious. To find real love isn't easy. We all know that. It takes work, trust, and sometimes the courage to leap without knowing where you'll land. He hesitated, locking eyes with Emily. But it's worth it, and I know that firsthand. A hush settled as he shared a brief, vulnerable moment about his own journey, his desire to break free from the confines of wealth and present himself authentically. For the first time that night, the raw truth of his heart spilled out. I'm learning that helping isn't just about giving money. It's about connecting with people, listening, and truly being there. As he glanced back at Emily, he noticed a glimmer of recognition in her eyes. It was almost imperceptible, but felt like a catalyst. The realization struck him that he wasn't just speaking to the guests, he was reaching out to her. The applause felt distant, and he wrapped up with a heartfelt toast to the couple. May your love inspire others to believe in their dreams, and may we all remember that it's never too late to take a chance. With a clink of glasses, he grinned and stepped back, catching his breath. Emily approached him, an unreadable expression on her face, but curiosity was present. That was unexpected, she said, a hint of playfulness in her tone. Was it really? He smiled, emboldened by her presence. I guess I'm just going for authenticity tonight. Seems like you're in it for the real deal. Emily stepped closer, her gaze intensifying. But do you really believe that can work? He hesitated, the question weighing heavy. I want to believe it. I want to believe in us. Just then, a commotion broke out behind them, laughter turning into shouts. Lucas turned to see Jake lifting Sarah high above his head, joyfully spinning her around. The infectious energy filled the room again, and Lucas felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, tonight was the beginning of something great. Could he, in this sea of celebration, coax Emily closer to a decision? Would she understand that love didn't require perfection, but rather the courage to embrace vulnerability? As they moved back towards the crowd, he realized the wedding wasn't just a celebration of Jake and Sarah. It was a call to action, a reminder that life was fleeting and connections mattered. The thought filled him with a new determination. He had to fight for what he wanted, or risk losing it forever. But would Emily allow him to fight for her heart, or was the wall of uncertainty still too high to scale? Lucas felt buoyed by the energy of the room, yet the weight of his own heartbeat pulsed steadily in his ears. Emily was right there, an elusive choice before him, wrapped in a swirl of laughter and celebration.
As they edged closer to the dance floor, he could see the joy on Jake's face as he spun Sarah around, pure happiness radiating from them both. Do you want to dance? Lucas asked Emily, suddenly eager to bridge that final gap. Her eyes gleamed with mischief mingled with hesitation. I thought dancing was for newlyweds, she teased, but her body swayed gently to the music. Who says we can't have a little fun? Lucas responded, a grin spreading across his face. Besides, I'm not paid to stick to the traditional rules. She laughed softly, the sound both relieving and intoxicating. Lucas extended his hand toward her, feeling a surge of something potent and hopeful. After a heartbeat of hesitation, Emily placed her hand in his. As they joined the thrumming bodies on the dance floor, Lucas pulled her close, feeling the warmth emanate from her. A wave of relief washed over him. This was it, the first tangible step towards connection. He could feel her heart racing as he swayed to the music, and the world around them faded into a pleasant blur. You're quite the dancer, Emily smiled, her eyes sparkling. He could only marvel at how she seemed to weave effortlessly through the rhythm, her confidence shining through. This beats giving a speech, he replied, his voice low, allowing the soft music to mingle with their conversation. I could use to this. For a while they danced, lost in the moment. Lucas dared to lean in closer, letting the intoxicating scent of her perfume fill his senses. You know, he began, his heart surging as he met her gaze, I meant what I said during my speech. It's not about perfection. It's about finding your way back to what really matters. Emily's expression softened, vulnerability cracking the playful surface. You're really serious about all this, aren't you? About us? He nodded slowly, feeling the swell of emotions. I am. I want a chance to show you that there's more to me than just what's written on paper. I want to build something real. Her breath caught for a moment, and Lucas felt a wave of uncertainty creep in. Was he scaring her? But before he could retreat into self-doubt, she stepped back slightly, searching his face. What if I told you I've been feeling the same? Emily said softly, the words like light breaking through a cloudy day. His heart raced. Really? Yeah, she continued, a flicker of enthusiasm lighting up her eyes. But I'm scared, Lucas. Scared of failure, of letting my guard down.
Then let's start small, one step at a time. He put his hand on her shoulder, grounding her, as if they could create stability amid the chaos surrounding them. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd. Lucas turned to see Jake and Sarah sharing another joyful moment, and without thinking he pulled Emily closer, twirling her around. Laughter bubbled between them, feeling like an invitation to forget the world. It was magical, and it took them both by surprise.
Then, in a spontaneous leap of faith, Emily whispered, "You know what? Maybe we'll figure out this imperfect love thing together." A rush of exhilaration shot through him. "Together," he echoed, sealing their unspoken pact with a smile. Just then, the music shifted to a slow melodic tune, drawing the crowd into a serene embrace. Lucas wrapped his arms around Emily's waist, pulling her in tighter, feeling her heartbeat sync with his. But as they swayed, a sense of urgency flickered at the edges of his happiness. He felt it, the ripple of uncertainty. Would her courage last once the music faded? Would she still see him as someone worth the risk when the lights dimmed? And as they danced, lost in each other, Lucas couldn't shake the impending question. Could love flourish in the shadows of doubt, or would it be snuffed out by fear? The melody wove around them like a warm embrace, soft and intoxicating, melting away the worries lingering in Lucas's mind. He dared to look into Emily's eyes, hoping he could read her thoughts as clearly as he felt her heartbeat. "What are you thinking?" he asked softly, his voice nearly drowned by the music. Her gaze flickered away for a moment, a fleeting hesitation creeping in. "Just how unexpected this all is. I never imagined dancing with you here, like this." "Good unexpected or bad unexpected?" he teased, trying to lighten the moment. "Good," she said, her smile finally blooming. "Definitely good." He couldn't contain his own grin as he gently swayed her back and forth, lost in the rhythm of the song. But a nagging doubt kept pulling at his heart. Amid all the laughter and love around them, was he really enough to heal her fears? Could he provide the safe space she needed? As the last notes of the song faded, Emily pulled back slightly, her eyes searching his once more. "Remember earlier when you mentioned small steps? I like that idea, but, Lucas prompted, his heart pounding. "But can we talk? Not now, but soon? I need to know if we can really make this work." Her voice trembled with hesitation, a stark contrast to the joyful atmosphere surrounding them. Lucas bit his lip, the mixture of excitement and apprehension swirling inside him. "Of course," he replied, trying to keep his tone steady. "Whenever you're ready." Just then, Jake and Sarah broke through the crowd, grinning like kids who'd just won the best prize. "You too! What are you doing just standing around? Come on, join the conga line!" Jake's enthusiasm was infectious, and before either of them could object, he grabbed Emily's hand and dragged her toward the thrumming line. Lucas followed closely, swept up in the fun and laughter as they navigated through wiggly guests. There was something endearing about how Emily couldn't help but laugh, her carefree spirit shining through the teasing chaos. They spun and twirled, twisting their way around friends and relatives until they collapsed in giggles, breathless and exhilarated. "I can't believe you just got roped into that," Lucas chuckled, brushing hair that had fallen in front of her face away. "I can't believe I liked it," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Just as they were catching their breath, a sudden silence fell over the crowd. The floor cleared as Sarah's father, a regal figure in a well-tailored suit, stepped forward holding a microphone, his warmth radiating perhaps more prominently than the bright lights above. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice carrying a hint of emotion, "if I could have your attention, I'd like to say a few words about the lovely couple." Lucas felt the tension in the air shift. All eyes turned to the stage, and he couldn't help but glance at Emily, who seemed just as entranced by the moment. The light-hearted energy faded, replaced by something more profound. What if the words expressed held an unexpected truth? A possibility of love so genuine, it overshadowed the fear lurking in the corners of his mind. As Sarah's father continued, Lucas's gaze remained on Emily. In that brief moment, amidst the crowd and the heartfelt speeches, clarity washed over him. If they were going to venture into this together, it would take every ounce of courage. Would she trust him enough? Would he have the strength to carry their growing bond forward? As the speech faded into the background, Lucas leaned closer, a whisper on his lips. "Emily, are you ready for what comes next?" But as he searched her face, hoping to see the answer reflected back, a shadow flashed in her eyes, a flicker of doubt threatening to shatter the warmth they had created. What would it take to break down those walls? And as the night continued to swirl with music and laughter, he couldn't shake the question lingering between them. What hidden truths awaited just below the surface, waiting for them both to uncover? Lucas's breath caught as Emily seemed lost in thought, her eyes reflecting the kaleidoscope of emotions swirling around them. He watched her intently, noting the way her brows furrowed slightly, a single thought seeming to weigh heavily on her heart. "Emily?" he whispered again, needing to hear her voice, to bridge the chasm of uncertainty that suddenly felt so wide. "I'm here," she answered, shaking herself from her reverie. But her smile faltered as she looked at him, uncertainty evident in her expression. The crowd was buzzing around them, the couples drawn back into the music, yet the reality felt sharper, more intimate. Lucas felt as if there was a small universe existing just between them, where doubts collided with hopes. He wanted to wrap her arms around her, to reassure her that he would be there, if only she would let him. "Can we step outside for a moment?" Emily suggested, her voice barely rising above the fading applause for Sarah's father. He met her gaze, and in that moment, he understood her need for space, for clarity amidst the chaos.
He nodded silently, and they slipped away, leaving the festivities behind. Outside, the cool night air greeted them like a gentle balm. The stars twinkled above, a breathtaking backdrop to the uncertain feelings bubbling up inside both of them. Lucas turned toward Emily, taking a step closer, his heart thrumming. "Hey," he began, trying to keep his voice steady. "What's really going on in that mind of yours?" "It's just so much has changed, you know?" She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, a nervous gesture he had come to recognize. "It feels like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap, but unsure of the landing." Lucas felt the weight of her words. "I'm right here, and I won't let you fall." He took her hands in his, feeling the warmth and strength there, a promise contained in their grasp. "Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together." Her eyes searched his, swimming with both fear and desire, as if crystallizing every unsaid thought between them. "But what if I can't do this? What if I can't let go of the past? I don't want to hurt you." "Emily, it's okay to be scared. Taking those small steps means embracing the fear too," he reassured her. "I don't need you to have it all figured out. Just take my hand, and we'll go together." A moment of silence hung in the air, a fragile pause before the storm. Lucas could feel her heart beating against his palms, a rhythm that mirrored his own. In that instant, the world around them faded even more, and the only thing that mattered was this connection, the strength of their bond. "Can we just be real for a bit?" she finally said, her voice trembling. "Yes, please." Finally, a flicker of relief settled in her eyes, and she took a breath, as if she were preparing to lay bare everything she had held inside. "I've never been good at this, at trusting," she admitted quietly, vulnerability threading through her voice. "It terrifies me to think that I might lose you if things don't go perfectly. It's not about perfection. It's about being there for each other, through the messy, raw, beautiful moments," Lucas replied softly, feeling an ever-growing ache in his chest. "We can figure out this love, together." Just as he finished speaking, a bittersweet smile crept across Emily's lips. "All right then, let's promise to be honest, no matter how scary it gets." "A promise I intend to keep," he assured her, squeezing her hands tighter. The gravity of their unspoken agreement hung between them as she took a deep breath. But just when Lucas thought she would lean closer, a distant call echoed from the wedding. The moment slipped, distraction drawing them back toward the festivities. He sighed, but remained close, unable to shake the feeling that they stood on the brink of something monumental. "Wait," Emily's voice blazed through the thin veil of uncertainty hanging around them. "When I talked about needing a talk, what if that talk starts right now?"
Lucas felt the spark ignite in the air between them again, hope blooming in his chest. "Yes, let's talk." With that, the night unfurled into a greater challenge than either had anticipated, and as they stepped toward that deeper conversation, Lucas caught a glimpse of a smile on Emily's face that felt like the dawn of a new beginning. What would this honest discussion reveal? A truth that could either solidify their bond or challenge everything they thought they knew. His heart raced as he waited for her to continue, wondering if tonight would bring them both the clarity they craved, or unravel everything they had built. Emily took an unsteady breath, her gaze shifting from the shimmering stars to the ground beneath their feet. The gravel crunched softly as she stepped closer, uncertain yet determined. "I've been thinking a lot about my past," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "And how it keeps creeping into my present, like an unwanted shadow." Lucas's heart tightened. He had sensed she carried burdens too heavy for one person to bear alone, but hearing her say it made the weight tangible. "You don't have to carry it all by yourself," he urged gently. "Let me help you." The corner of her mouth quirked up momentarily before slipping back into seriousness. "You don't know everything, and I worry you'll get lost with me." Her eyes shimmered, reflecting vulnerability wrapped in fear. What if who I am isn't enough? The confidence he felt faltered momentarily as he considered her words. He had seen her strength, but understood now that her past experiences had wrapped her in chains of doubt. "You are already enough," he affirmed, searching her gaze. "You don't need to change for anyone, not even for me." She opened her mouth as if to argue, but then closed it again, letting silence settle like a soft, warm blanket around them. The sounds of laughter and celebration wafted from the wedding behind them, a reminder of what they were stepping away from, a joy that felt both far away and achingly close. "Lucas," she said finally, her voice trembling, "what if I told you I'm scared of love? Scared that I will mess everything up and ruin what we have before it even starts?" The honesty in her words pierced straight through him. He could feel his heart wailing in response, wishing to reassure her, wanting her to see the promise of love he saw. "Emily, love is messy. It's not a guarantee. But every moment with you, it feels worth the risk, no matter how scary it gets." She seemed to ponder this, her eyes searching his, as if seeking confirmation that he didn't fear the storm she felt brewing inside her. "What if my past colors how I see things, how I see you?" Lucas's thumb brushed against her skin, igniting warmth that chased away some of the chill in the air. "Then we'll navigate through it, together. I want to understand you, your fears, your dreams. You don't have to shield me from your past."
It's part of who you are, and I respect that. A flicker of hope danced across her face, illuminating the corners of her mouth. "I want to trust you. I want to believe that this can work, that it can be different." "That's the first step," he said, his voice steady. "Trusting is scary, but it's where the real growth happens." As she stood there, her eyes brightened with a mix of hope and uncertainty, two emotions intertwined in a delicate balance. Just then, the sky seemed to crackle with an energy that mirrored their hearts. "Do you think love can survive all the mess?" she asked, concern lined in her furrowed brows. "I believe love thrives in the mess. It's in the chaos that we find the raw honesty, the depth of connection," he replied, channeling every ounce of sincerity he possessed. "But it starts with being open, showing up for each other honestly." She nodded, uncertainty still flickering in her eyes, but beneath it, he could see she was feeling something shift within. The resolve she wore like armor started to crack, revealing glimpses of tenderness that made his chest swell. "Okay," she breathed, letting the word float between them like a promise. "I'll try. I'll open up about my fears. Just please don't be afraid to tell me where you stand." Lucas smiled at her, a warmth swelling from his heart that made him want to hold her tightly and tell her how deeply he cared. "I'll always be honest with you, Emily, no matter what comes." Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the wedding, a sound that felt like a celebration of their moment. They both turned slightly toward the commotion, briefly distracted by the laughter and joy, a reminder of the world waiting for them. But as they turned back to one another, Lucas knew that this wasn't just a moment. It was the beginning of a journey he never expected to embark on, the leap of faith they were both taking into the unknown. "Let's go back," Emily said, a tentative smile flashing across her lips. "I wouldn't have it any other way." As they walked back, hand in hand, he could feel the weight of all they had yet to face together. But amid that weight was a spark of genuine hope, signaling that perhaps, just perhaps, they were ready to uncover the depths of what truly mattered. But as they approached the door, a sudden commotion jerked their attention back. Someone stumbled, and a shout cut through the laughter.
A face from Emily's past emerged amidst the party, and Lucas felt the unease creeping back, swirling like a storm just on the horizon. What would this unexpected encounter mean for the promise they had begun to forge? Just as Lucas steadied himself at the sight of the unexpected figure, Emily's expression morphed from tentative resolve to shock. Her eyes widened in disbelief. A rush of mixed emotions played across her features as recognition flashed like lightning.
It was Matthew, a ghost from her past, and the weight of his presence sent a ripple of apprehension through her. "Emily?" Matthew called, his voice cutting through the air. He pushed his way through the throng of guests, his face split by a smile that felt all too familiar and dangerously inviting. Lucas felt a tightening in his chest, a primal urge to protect the newfound bond they had just begun to forge. "What are you doing here?" Emily's voice was small, but Lucas could hear the underlying tremor of hurt and anger. It was a voice clashing with the confidence she had begun to build moments ago. "You weren't invited." Matthew stopped a few steps away, his gaze unwavering, searching her face for something, reassurance or perhaps a deeper connection he believed still lingered. "I came to support you, to be here for your big day. I didn't think you'd be—" He hesitated, his eyes darting to Lucas, then back to Emily. "With someone else." A pang of jealousy hit Lucas hard, but he quickly masked it with a calm demeanor, squeezing Emily's hand gently. "This is my friend Emily," he stated, injecting certainty into the space between them. "You should respect her wishes and give her space." Emily's breath hitched, caught between her past and the present. It felt like a storm was brewing, and Lucas could sense the tension thickening as Matthew met his protective glare with a challenging one. "You don't know her like I do," Matthew shot back, his voice rising a notch. "You don't know what we've shared." The crowd around them faded, laughter and music becoming a distant hum as the two men stood at a crossroads, with Emily caught in the eye of the storm. She felt the weight of Matthew's gaze on her, the connection from old times threatening to pull her back, just as Lucas's steadiness beckoned her forward. "What we had was in the past," Emily finally found her voice, stronger than before. "You don't get to waltz back in and act like everything is fine. It's time for me to move on." The words hung in the air, powerful yet vulnerable. Lucas felt her tremble beneath the surface, a mix of fear and strength. Emotions churned around them, swirling like the confetti that littered the floor, signaling both celebration and disarray. Matthew faltered, a brief flicker of doubt crossing his face. "You're really going to let him choose for you?" he said, the facade of confidence slipping. "We had something real." "And it ended, Matthew." Emily's voice was unwavering now, each word a step away from her past. "I have a chance for something different, something that treats me better. Don't you get that?" The way she stood, firm yet fragile, ignited something deep within Lucas. He admired her strength as she grappled with her past, embracing a future that, if he had his way, would include him firmly standing by her side. "Emily," Matthew's voice softened, and Lucas felt tension crackle as he took a half step toward her. "What if I'm the one who can help you?"
At that moment, Lucas stepped forward, placing himself protectively in front of Emily. "What you can't see is that love isn't about who can save who. It's about growth and trust." He searched her eyes, determination mingling with empathy. "And we're both here to grow, aren't we, Em?" Emily looked at Lucas, warmth flooding her system. He saw it in her eyes, the hope mingling with fear, but forging the strength she needed. "Yes, we are," she affirmed quietly, her voice steady. Just then, the tension shattered as Emily turned her back to Matthew, taking a step closer to Lucas, hand still intertwined with his. She was ready to move forward, ready to confront whatever shadows lay ahead. Matthew's face darkened, confusion morphing into anger as he watched them, but something in Emily's stance told him the game had shifted. "Just know, I'm not finished here," he warned, his voice low but filled with certainty. Lucas felt the knot in his chest tighten again. What did Matthew mean? But Emily, wings unfolding with newfound strength, turned to face Lucas, her eyes brimming with determination. "Let's not let him define us," she said softly, every ounce of affection anchoring them both in the moment. As they walked away, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that the past had a way of sneaking up when it was least wanted. What lay ahead now felt like a dance between hope and uncertainty, and he couldn't help but wonder how they would navigate this turbulent path together. As the celebratory music swelled once more behind them, a flicker of doubt washed over Lucas. Had they truly left the storm behind, or was it only just beginning?
With the warm glow of the celebration fading into the background, Lucas felt a newfound sense of purpose surging through him. He glanced at Emily, who stood beside him, her expression a combination of determination and vulnerability. After confronting her past with Matthew, she looked ready to embrace a new chapter, one that he desperately wanted to be a part of. "Let's get back to the party," he said softly, but with an undercurrent of excitement. "I want to show you how wonderful tonight can still be." She met his gaze, and a shy smile flickered across her lips. "Yeah, I'd like that." The warmth of their connection pulsed between them, igniting every step they took toward the festivities. As they returned to the ballroom, the music was back in full swing, the guests lost in revelry. Resolved not to let Matthew's intrusion define their night, Lucas leaned closer to Emily. "Want to dance?" he offered, and she nodded eagerly, the spark of shared joy crackling in the air. They made their way to the dance floor, swaying to the rhythm of a slow song. In each turn and twirl, vaporous doubts melted away, replaced by the tenderness blooming between them. Lucas pulled her closer, feeling the warmth of her body against his, the tension uncoiling with every beat.
This was a moment where the outside world faded, and all that remained was them. "I'm so glad you're here with me," he whispered into her ear, and she leaned into him, her laughter bubbling over the music. "Me too. I'm realizing I don't want to go back to how things were," she replied, her earnestness wrapping around him like a comforting hug. "I want to move forward, with you, together." The culmination of their journey, the trials, the uncertainties, the glimmers of hope had condensed into this very moment. He could see it in her eyes that love was within reach, no longer shadowed by lingering doubts. As the dance drew to a close, they stepped back, catching their breaths as the glorious chaos of the celebration roared around them. Lucas, emboldened by their connection, took this moment of clarity to lay his heart bare. "Emily, about the community center? I want to truly support you, not just financially, but with my time, my energy. I want to understand this community alongside you." Her eyes lit up, and he felt his own heart race. "You really mean that?" she asked, almost incredulous. "Absolutely," he said, firm and resolute. "I want to be the man who stands by your side and listens to all the stories you have to share. I want to fight for this place, for your dreams. I want to create new memories with you." Emily's smile widened, a blend of relief and excitement. "Then let's do this. Together." They stood, laughter dancing between them, contemplating the challenge ahead. Their young love was neither perfect nor accompanied by guarantees, but it was grounded in the promise of growth, trust, and unwavering support. Suddenly, a familiar face sidled up to them, grinning broadly. Jake and Sarah approached, Jake throwing an arm around Lucas. "You two look like you found something special." "We have," Emily responded, radiant, "and we're ready for whatever comes next." "Excellent! Speaking of which, we'd love for you both to join us for a community fundraiser next week. It's an opportunity to rally locals for the center," Sarah added, her enthusiasm infectious. "Count us in," Lucas replied, glancing at Emily as her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. And just like that, the future stretched out before them, painted in vibrant hues of hope and possibility. The weight of doubt that once loomed grew distinctly lighter, and the shadows of the past began to recede. They would both learn from their histories, forging deeper connections with one another and with the community that needed them. As the night wore on and laughter spilled into the cool air, Lucas felt a profound transformation blossoming within, the realization that love took guts, patience, and a willingness to embrace vulnerability. "Let's dance again," he said, pulling Emily into his arms once more. And under the shimmering lights of the ballroom, they twirled, lost in each other, surrounded by family, friends, and the warmth of a fresh start. This was just the beginning, and both were ready to forge ahead. Theirs was no longer just a story of a billionaire and a girl from a small town, but a shared journey, marked by love, connection, and a fierce belief that together they could weather anything life threw their way. As they danced, the crowd cheered, and the world faded into a blur. In that moment, they were simply two people bound by possibility, standing on the precipice of transformation, ready to leap into love's embrace. Now is your moment.
If you felt the power and beauty in this story, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately so you won't miss the next exclusive adventures. Don't forget to leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these heartfelt journeys. We want to hear from you, so comment below with your feelings and reactions to the ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation. True fans know how important it is to support the channel through these actions.